Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:35. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Vice President Ferguson, would you do the invocation, please?
Good evening, everyone. Father God, we just thank you. We give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. We thank you for keeping us yet another day. And we ask, Lord Jesus, that you would just be in our midst, Father God. We know that you are the one who makes all things good, and you bring all things together. So we ask that you would just bless us, Father God, as we meet, Father God, that we will experience your peace and that we will align ourselves with your peace, that you will give us wisdom, understanding, and wise counsel. In the name of Jesus, we ask that you bless the citizens and all who are affiliated with us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Councilwoman Fareed is not with us this evening. Councilwoman Guillaume?
Here.
Councilman Hairston?
Here.
Councilman Herring?
Here.
Councilwoman Jones?
Here.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Here.
Council President Curtis?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the agenda is hereby adopted. First on the agenda is the approval of prior minutes. Minutes from June 1st, June 5th, June 13th, June 20th, June 29th, July 6th, July 12th, July 18th, July 25th, October the 10th, and October the 16th. Is there a motion to bring these minutes to the floor for a vote?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the minutes are hereby approved. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is legislation. First up is ordinance 0-02-2024, an ordinance to amend chapter 22, city property, article 1-22-1, guidelines, global positioning system, for second reading and vote. Madam Clerk?
Ordinance 02-2024, introduced and sponsored by Councilman Herring. Public hearings were held on October 10th and November 14th, and again in regular session the 16th of October and now the 20th of November. Introduction date was October 2nd. An ordinance to amend Chapter 22, City Property, Article 1, subsection 22-1 guidelines. Whereas the City of Glenarden is a municipal corporation of the State of Maryland and operating under Article 11-E of the Constitution of Maryland and subsection 5-202 of the Anointed Code of Maryland as amended, and whereas Chapter 22, Article 1, subsection 22-1 provides the guidelines for the use of city vehicles and property, and whereas the city has a responsibility to ensure that there is accountability, cost controls, and improved employee safety when city vehicles are in use, and whereas in order to achieve these goals of global positioning system should be instituted. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023 that, number 1, that Charter Chapter 22 City Property, Article 1, subsection 22-1, be and is hereby amended to read as follows. No changes from A through L. Section M, all city vehicles shall be equipped with the Global Positioning System unit. No employee shall disconnect, or attempt to disable the GPS unit. To do so will lead to disciplinary action to include termination. The city manager, 2, the city manager, police chief, code manager, and director of public works will have access to the GPS system. Be it further resolved and ordained by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, that this ordinance is and shall become effective 20 days following the approval by the mayor or passage by the council over the mayor's veto.
Thank you. Is there a motion to bring this ordinance to the floor for a vote?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Council President.
Madam Clerk. Councilwoman Jones?
Yes, there are I guess these are the bids.
Might be a little blurry, but I promise I'll give everybody a copy of it so you can have it for your.
I'm assuming that these are the bids that are attached to this. I don't think the bid should be attached to this yet, should it? And is it, okay, looks like 3 bids. Samsara, that looks like the same person. There's only 2?
Mr. Curtis?
City Manager Habita?
I'm seeing Link Up, I'm seeing Samsara, and I'm
Right.
seeing Verizon with a blank page.
Right. Those were provided for information in terms of the costs that would be associated with implementing GPS, and they are possible vendors.
Okay,
There are 3 possible vendors that we've looked at, and there may be others. We would have to bring that to the cost to council in a separate action once we're ready to implement.
okay. So these 3
Those are possibles.
shouldn't be attached to this ordinance. It should be attached to the actual resolution as to who you're.
Yes,
when
it's
time to
provided for
choose.
information on, what the cost would be,
All right,
the
thank you.
variety.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, could you do a voice vote for this ordinance, please?
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Abstain?
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
Council President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote carried.
Next up is ordinance O-03-2024, Ethics Ordinance Amendments per State Ethics Commission, second reading and vote. Madam Clerk?
Is this the second reading, Mr. President? Is this the first reading?
This is the second.
This is the second? Okay. When was it?
Oh, I'm sorry, it is the first.
This is the first, right?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, I think this actually should come to the floor as an emergency ordinance. We have got to be in compliance with the state. So I'm asking that this come to the floor as an emergency ordinance.
Okay, so we'll do the reading and then we'll do the emergency ordinance vote and then the vote.
I'm sorry, Council President, I have a question. On the ordinance that just passed, aren't ordinances required to have 5 votes?
No, they only need 4 votes, 5 votes to override a veto.
Thank you.
Parliamentarian, Madam Parliamentarian. So when we bring it to the floor for a vote as an emergency ordinance, do we have to bring it to the floor first to vote as an emergency ordinance and then to vote on an ordinance?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, could you do the reading, please?
Ordinance 03-2024. The sponsor is Council Vice President Angela Ferguson at the request of the administration. The public hearing was held on November 14th, and it was introduced on November 6th. An ordinance to amend Chapter 16, Ethics, in order to comply with state-mandated changes. Whereas the City of Glenarden is a municipal corporation of the state of Maryland, and whereas Maryland Code Section 5-801 of the general provisions article requires municipal corporations to enact ethics laws and require the State Ethics Commission approve all municipal ethics ordinances. Whereas the Maryland General Assembly enacted House Bill 879 during the 2017 legislative session, which added new laws to the Maryland Public Ethics Law and requires local governments to incorporate certain changes into their respective ethics ordinances. And whereas it is necessary and in the public interest to amend Chapter 16 of the City Code comply with the state mandated ethics code requirements. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023. Subsection 16, conflicts of interest and provisions. Section B, except in the exercise of administrative or ministerial duty that does not affect disposition or decision of a matter, any matter in which, to knowledge of the official or employee, the official or qualified relative of the official or employee has an interest. 5A, a former regulated lobbyist who is to become subject to this chapter as an employee or official other than an elected official or appointed official may not participate in a case, contract, or other specific matter as an employee or official other than an elected official for appointed official. 4, 1 calendar year after the termination of the registration of the former related lobbyist, if the former related lobbyist previously assisted or represented another party in a party for compensation in that matter. D, post-employment limitations. A former elected official may not assist or represent any party or compensation in a manner that is subject of legislative action or for 1 calendar year after the elected official leaves. Subsection 16-7, financial disclosure. Local elected officials and candidates to the local elected officials, candidates to local elected officials. If a statement required to be filed by the candidate is overdue or not filed within 8 days after written notice of the failure to file provided by the city clerk or board of election supervisor, the candidate is deemed to have withdrawn the candidacy. Section D, public record. 5, for statements filed after January 1st, 2019, the commission or the office designated by the commission may not provide public access to an individual's home address that the individual has designated as the individual's home address. F, contents of statement. 8, sources of earned income. For a statement filed on or after January 1st, 2019, if the individual's spouse is a lobbyist regulated by the City of Glenarden, the individual shall disclose the entity that has engaged the spouse for lobbying purposes. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, that this ordinance shall become effective immediately following approval by the mayor or passage by the council over the mayor's veto.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor as an emergency ordinance? One second. Madam Parliamentarian. Yes.
Turn yours off. I ain't got my phone on. That is my mic. Yes, I make a motion that we bring this to the floor as an emergency ordinance.
Is there a second? Second by Councilman Jones. Any discussion? So for ordinance, I'm just going to call for a voice vote. Clerk.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
and Council President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote carries.
Is there a motion to bring this emergency resolution to the floor for a vote?
So move.
Moved by Councilman Herring. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
and Council President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote carries. Thank you.
Next up is Resolution R-18-2024, a resolution for approval of payment to G. Macy Nelson Law Firm for legal work on Altawood project. The sponsors, Council President Derek Curtis, at the request of the administration. The public hearing was held on November the 14th, and the date of introduction is November 6th, 2023. Whereas the City Council authorized retaining the law firm of G. Macy Nelson for the purpose of opposing the detailed site plan for the Alta Woodmore apartment project before the Prince George's County Council, sitting as the District Council on planning and zoning matters. And whereas the Alta Woodmore project as proposed includes the development of 284 apartments on 20 acres of frontage on Ruby Lockhart Boulevard with only one way in and out of the property. And whereas G. Mason Nelson Law Firm represented the city at the county council hearing on September 25th, 2023, and has submitted a bill for their legal services. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023 as follows. That the council authorizes payment of $10,898.67 to Macy Nelson Law Firm for services provided to be charged to legal services account 10.20.10.8211. And 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Ferguson. Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, this resolution is hereby adopted. Next is Resolution R-19-2024, a resolution to accept CPJA cost proposal for stormwater analysis covering Dalewood and Fisk Avenues, Gary Court, and Jeff Road. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 19-2024. The sponsors are Councilman Herring and Councilman Hairston. At the request of administration, public hearing was held on November 14th, and the resolution was introduced on November 6th. A resolution to accept the November 2nd, 2023 proposal from Charles P. Johnson Jr. and Associates for a stormwater infrastructure study for Dalewood and Fisk Avenues, Gary Court, and Jeff Road. Whereas, in addition to the street and sidewalk studies being conducted by CPJA, as previously approved by the council has also requested a proposal from CPJA for an analysis of the stormwater infrastructure in the city. And whereas a proposal has been received from CPJA dated November 2nd, 2023, which is attached as Exhibit A. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November, 2023, as follows. 1, that the proposal from Charles P. Johnson Jr. and Associates is accepted at a cost not to exceed $30,000, except as approved by the City Council upon presentation of the additional costs of CPJA to the City Council that may be requested by the City Council. 2, that the city manager is authorized to sign a proposal from CPJA upon approval of this resolution by the City Council. And 3, that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilmember Harry?
Item number 2, that the city manager is authorized to sign the proposal. That should be the mayor or the council president, because it's a contract.
Okay. That amendment will be made. Any other discussion? Any opposition to accepting this resolution with the noted amendment? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, this resolution is adopted. Next up is Resolution R-20-2024, a resolution to extend a contract with R.H. Hilarios Landscaping, Inc. for snow and ice control. The sponsors, Derek Curtis, Council President, co-sponsors at the request of the administration. The public hearing was held on November 14th, 2023, and the date of introduction was November 6th, 2023. Whereas in 2022, the City of Glenarden, Maryland engaged in a competitive bidding process for snow and ice removal and ice control services, and whereas the most responsive and responsible bidder responding to request for proposal for FY22 was R.H. Hilarios Landscaping, Inc., and the city awarded a 1-year contract to R.H. Hilarios Landscaping, a copy of which is attached, for the period beginning December 2022, and whereas the contract awarded to R.H. Hilarios Landscaping conferred upon the city the option to extend the contract upon the same terms and conditions for 2 additional 1-year terms, and whereas the council has determined that it is in the public interest to extend the contract with R.H. Hilarios Landscaping for snow and ice removal for an additional 1-year period from December 2023. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023 as follows. That contract number 2022-01 for snow and ice control services be, and it is hereby extended for an additional 1-year term for the period from December the 1st, 2023 through November 30th, 2024. Number 2, that the mayor or the council be and is hereby authorized to exercise a contract extension. Number 3, that the contract services shall be paid from public works budget, snow removal and landscaping line item 7240.10.60.60. Number 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
Question.
Madam Parliamentarian?
Line 37, with the mayor and council, that you said or. Is that an amendment to that?
I apologize. Item number 2, under now therefore be it resolved, is that the mayor and council be and
Council president. Should be council president.
yes, thank you.
So that's an insert there?
Yes.
Okay.
So it should read that the mayor or council president B, and is hereby authorized to exercise the contract extension.
You're striking and
We're, we're striking and to replace with or, and we're striking he, which is also in there. Thank you. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, could we read number 2 with the amendments? to it?
Okay. I'll read 1 and 2. Oh, I'll read 2. So the right now it's not displaying on the screen, so I'll just start over from now. Therefore, be it resolved. So with the amendments under now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023. We're amending item number 2, so it will read that the mayor or council president be and is hereby authorized to exercise the contract extension.
Guys, because it shouldn't just be that the mayor or council president is hereby authorized to exercise it, because that council B and, I understand why the B and is in there.
We can get rid of it.
I'm just trying to.
That's fine.
Confusing.
So the amendment is to read that the mayor or council president is hereby authorized to exercise the contract extension. Is that good?
Yeah.
So we are striking B and as well.
And he. Strike he and B.
Yep. Any other discussion? Any opposition to moving forward with this resolution as amended? Hearing none, this resolution is approved. Next is Resolution R-21-2024, a resolution to replace the Public Works garage roof. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 21-2024. The sponsor is Derek Curtis, Council President, at the request of administration. Public hearing was November 14th, and the date of introduction was November 6th. A resolution authorizing a contract with Page Industrial Services, Inc. to make repairs and improvement to the Public Works garage roof of the James R. Cousins Municipal Building. Whereas the Public Works garage at James R. Cousins Municipal Building, the building, serves as a principal garage used for the to store public works equipment and supplies, and whereas the roof on the building is failing and leaks profusely during heavy rain and is in need of repair/replacement, and whereas this work is authorized without a formal bid process pursuant to Section 8-18 in lieu of a contract bid process required by this section and in place of 821A, B, and C of the city charter, whenever a federal, state, county, or local government or any agency thereof whose purchasing policies are comparable to those of the city of Glenarden has conducted a bid and awarded contract, the city may purchase the contract bid item at the bid price from the successful bidder, subject to approval of the mayor or council, this should be council president, prior to the city's purchase of an item, service, or material from the successful bidder or another jurisdiction. The city manager shall obtain a copy of the jurisdiction's purchasing policies. And whereas Sourcewell has conducted a competitive bidding process and awarded an indefinite quantities construction contract to Page Industries, Inc., contractor, contract number MDR3RW020522621 PAI, to perform construction services specified in that contract, and Sourcewell has extended their contract with Page Industrial Services, Inc. to June 10th, 2024, as noted in Exhibit A. And whereas Sourcewell's purchasing policies are comparable to those of the city, and whereas the council declares that the revision of Section 818B of the city charter has been satisfied as to justify the waiver of the competitive bidding process required by Section 818A of the city charter. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November, 2023. 1, that an indefinite quantities contract with Page Industrial Services is not to exceed the proposed amount of $18,446 for services listed in the contract document A, and 2, that the contract shall be paid from the Public Works line item 7330.10.60.60, and that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Ferguson. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Bahari?
Yeah, I just want to get some clarification on it, on Sourcewell and the documentation that we have on the back of this.
Yes. I'll call up Mr. Simpson and Sabata, you guys can tackle this. Floor is yours, Councilman Bahari.
Good evening. Yes, sir, Mr. Henry.
Yeah, so you have the document on the back. It says Sourcewell is listing account names and account numbers. So what is that specifically? Is that entities that they're working with, or?
Which one are you referring to? I'm sorry.
On the back of our resolution, we have this
Oh.
this here.
Yes, there's a spreadsheet that has all of the entities and municipalities, and I believe we printed that out to show that which municipalities are actually utilizing and using Sourcewell. Yes,
All
sir.
right, okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? Any opposition?
I'd like to ask for a voice vote.
Yes, sir. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
and Council President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote carries.
Okay. Next up is Resolution R-22-2024, a resolution to authorize the purchase of radios from Motorola Solutions, Inc. for new police vehicles and for officers. The sponsor is Derek Curtis, Council President, co-sponsor at the request of the administration. Public hearing was held on November 14th, 2023. Date of introduction was November 6, 2023. Whereas the administration has determined that it is in the public interest to authorize the Glenarden Police Department to purchase 2 in-car radios as well as 2 handheld radios from Motorola Solutions. And whereas it is necessary to purchase 2 700-800 MHz single-band APX radios for the price of $4,190.55 per radio, as detailed in Exhibit A, as well as handheld radios for the price of $3,584 per radio, as detailed in Exhibit B, so that the police department can continue to run optimally with new officers and new vehicles. And whereas Motorola radios with the proper specifications can be purchased from Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the same price as obtained under a competitively bid contract with the Prince George's County meeting requirements set in Section 818 of the Charter. And whereas the purchase is authorized without a formal bid process pursuant to Section 818C of the City Charter. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Glenarden, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023, has determined that, number one, the purchase from Motorola Solutions, Inc. of two 700-800 MHz APX radios and two handheld APX 6000 portable radios for a total amount of $15,549.10 per the proposal attached as Exhibit A and B to this resolution, be and it is hereby approved. 2. Payment for the police radios and accessories shall be made from the support equipment budget line 8360-10-55-50 for $15,549.10. And 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Herring. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember Herring.
Okay, I guess I'm looking at the invoices in the back of here, and there's an invoice from January 2023. Two invoices from January 2023. Are these prices still good? I mean, we're like into November. Then I have some from September 1st, 2023. Just asking, are these prices are still good?
Yes.
And they're still holding the equipment for us, or do we have the equipment, or what?
We have that equipment, we have that equipment, we just wait for it to be approved, so we can move forward.
Hmm. We have it, okay. Okay, all right, that's it.
Any other discussion? Any opposition?
Ask for a voice vote.
Madam Clerk? Or voice vote?
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson.
Abstain.
I'm sorry, didn't hear you.
Abstain.
Okay. And Council President Curtis,
Yes.
vote carries.
Thank you. 2022. Next up is Resolution R-23-2024, a resolution to extend contract with Steel Beach Production. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 23-2024. The sponsor is President Curtis. At the request of administration, the date of introduction was November 6th. The public hearing was November 14th. A resolution to extend the contract to Steel Beach Production, LLC, for videotaping, broadcasting, and post-production services. Whereas, in aligning with the public interest, the city administration recommends hiring an independent consultant to provide the City of Glenarden with videotaping and post-production services for the city council meetings as well as other related cable station services. And whereas the city administration staff has negotiated a contract with Steel Beach Post-Production, LLC, a copy of which is attached as Exhibit A. And whereas pursuant to the contract, Steel Beach Post-Production, LLC will provide broadcasting and post-production services for televised city meetings at a set price of $350 per meeting and a spending cap of $1,750 a month. Steel Beach Production will provide other filming services outside the city council meetings for $450 per event with a spending cap of $900 per month, as well as provide overall maintenance and upkeep of the cable station at the price of $40 per hour, not to exceed $5,000 for the duration of the contract term. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November, 2023 as follows. The consultant agreement is substantially the form as attached as Exhibit A to be, and he is hereby approved. 2, that the mayor or council president will be authorized to sign a consultant agreement in substantially the form as attached. 3, payment for services shall be taken from the cable budget professional services line item 10.15.15.7130. And 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Is this a competitive bid? I'm just asking. City manager recommend if this, is this a competitive bid? That's all I want.
It was when we originally signed the contract. So the question
Continuation.
is a continuation of a competitive bid.
That's the thing, okay.
For those online, the Madam Parliamentarian asks if this was a competitive bid. This is a continuation of a competitive bid from last year. Okay. Madam Clerk, was that a question online?
No. They wanted Councilman Herring to speak into the speaker.
Oh, okay. Okay, is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Herring, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jones, any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, this resolution is hereby approved by unanimous consent. Just had them on here. Oh, here we go. This is 24. Next up is resolution R-24, 2024-2024, a resolution for 1-year extension of trash collection contract with Good Trash Removal, Inc. The sponsor is Derek Curtis, Council President. At the request of the administration, public hearing was held on November 14th, 2023, and the date of introduction was November 6, 2023. Whereas Resolution R-1-2023 authorized the city to enter into a contract with Good Trash Removal, Inc. for trash removal services for the period September 27th, 2022 through September 26, 2023. And whereas the contract authorized an extension of the contract for up to 2 additional 1-year terms at the discretion of the city. And whereas Good Trash Removal has provided satisfactory trash removal services, and it is in the interest of the city to extend the said contract for an additional 1-year period. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023 as follows. Number 1, that the contract between Good Trash Removal, Inc. and the City of Glenarden for the period of September 27, 2023 through September 26, 2024 is hereby extended on the same terms and conditions as the contract dated September 27, 2023. 2, that the Council President be and is hereby authorized to sign an extension of the contract through September 26, 2024. And 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Herring. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember Herring.
This is for the city manager. Will we be putting this out to bid?
Yes, in 2024, more than likely, at this point.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? That was my same question. Thank you, Councilmember Harry. Any opposition?
Mr. President, I'd like to ask for a voice vote.
Yes, sir. Madam Clerk, could you do a voice vote, please?
For Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
Council President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote carries.
Thank you. Next is Resolution R-25-2024, a resolution to extend contract with Dr. Mary Grant for parliamentarian services. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 20-25, Resolution 25-2024. Sponsor is the Council President on behalf of the City Council. The public hearing was held on November 14th, and the date of introduction was November 6th. A resolution to approve a contract for parliamentarian services. Whereas Dr. Mary Grant has been providing parliamentary services to the City Council in the last fiscal year, and whereas the city desires to continue having Dr. Grant services through the current fiscal year, and now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November, 2023, as follows. 1, that the council president be and is hereby authorized to sign a 1-year contract at the cost not to exceed $10,000. 2, that the mayor or council president be authorized to sign the consultant agreement. And 3, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
So moved by Councilmember Herring. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jones. Madam Parliamentarian?
You want to make corrections on line 1, line 2, be and is hereby scratched. The president is hereby authorized.
Okay. Was that all?
Yeah, that's on line 1 and line 2.
Line 2.
Yes.
What was the correction? You can scratch B and add contract. Okay. For those online who could not hear Madam Parliamentarian, there are some amendments to the resolution. So it will read as follows. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023 as follows, that the Council President is hereby authorized to sign a 1-year contract at the cost not to exceed $10,000. Number 2, that the mayor.
Council President.
Yeah, we should scratch the mayor as well. Number 2, that the council president is authorized to sign the consulting contract. Number 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. We could just nix number 2 altogether, can't we?
Yep.
It's the same.
Yeah. So we're just going to scratch number 2 altogether. Okay. So to read that the council president is here, read number 1, the council president is hereby authorized to sign a 1-year contract that the cost not to exceed $10,000. And number 2, the resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Is there any other discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none by unanimous consent, this amended resolution has been adopted. Where are we? 26. Okay. Whew. Next up is Resolution R-26-2024, a resolution to authorize grant application for CDBG funding, Church Street, excuse me, funding Church Street sidewalks to PG-DHCD. Madam Clerk, Madam Clerk, should you do this one, please?
Sure.
Sorry.
Resolution 26-2024. The sponsor is Angela D. Ferguson, Council Vice President, and James Herring, Councilman. At the request of the administration, the public hearing was held November 14th, and the date of introduction was November 6th. A resolution to authorize submission of an application to the Community Development Block Grant Funds to the Prince George's County Department of Housing and Community Development for infrastructure improvements. Whereas the City Council approved Resolution R-47-2023 on June 20th, 2023, authorizing participation in Prince George's County's Development Block Grant, CDBG, and home investment programs. And whereas the area of the city that meets the CBDG program requirements is Ward 1. And whereas an infrastructure need has been identified by Council Vice President Ferguson at large and Councilman Herring, who represents Ward 1, and that the need is for installation of new sidewalks on Church Street to provide for elementary students to have a safe place to walk to Judge Sylvania Woods Elementary School. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November, 2023 as follows. 1, that the City Council authorizes submission of a CDBG application to Prince George's County Department of Housing and Community Department by the deadline of December 6, 2023, with the cost estimates provided by the city engineers, Charles P. Johnson Jr. and Associates, for installation of new sidewalks on Church Street. And 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Herring. Any discussion?
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Vice President Ferguson?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I would like to add that Councilman Harrison and also Councilwoman Fareed will be sponsors
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
to this resolution. Thank you.
Council President,
Madam Clerk?
they've been updated on the form for signature. They weren't in the packet, but they were updated afterwards. So if you approve it when they come for signature, they've been added as sponsors, co-sponsors.
Okay. All right. Ms. Habiter?
Yes, one correction. The deadline is December 8th, not the 6th. So if you could just change that. And one question to the sponsors. In conversations with, biweekly conversations that we have with Charles P. Johnson engineers, they have looked at some other areas of Ward 1 that may need, they may want to recommend. If we could have that flexibility to add those, Mr. Herring, I'm sorry I didn't get to, that meeting was this morning, and I didn't get to talk to you today about this. In particular, it's your ward, so.
You wanted to add what?
Some other priority streets that they're working on now in terms of the sidewalk and the street survey.
Oh, I mean, well, how much will it cost us?
Well, it would all be going in the CDBG application.
CDBG?
Yeah.
Now, will that take away from the Church Street
No,
sidewalk?
that would be the priority. Yes, Church
Okay,
Street
yeah,
is-
because as long as that's the priority, I'm
Okay.
not worried about any other,
But-
other sidewalks we can deal with, but that's a major priority that we need to,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vice President Ferguson?
City manager, did they identify what streets they were?
They have not. They just said that they're working on, they were in the field today in Ward 1, and they had some feedback from them, the folks who were in the field today, that there might be some other additional priorities that might be good to submit to in the CDBG application.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Vice President Ferguson. Madam Parliamentarian? You said we'll need a separate resolution for additional streets? Okay. For members, citizens online and council members online, a Madam Parliamentarian has requested that the additional streets that City Manager Habita would like to add to application, that be put in a resolution so that we'll know the streets.
Mr. President, may I?
Councilmember Herring?
Well, with the CDBG grant, we have to submit a resolution, correct?
Yes.
Stating this is just to get the money.
Yes.
And after we say we're going to I guess we can generalize it and say we're going to work on city streets.
Yeah. Well, specifically in the narrative, we'll make sure that it includes obviously new sidewalks for the children.
Right.
But in general, infrastructure in Ward 1 is the focus.
So should this resolution be so specific, or should it be general?
I think, if you added language after in item 1 that said, for installation of new sidewalks on Church Street and other priority streets that may be identified by Charles P. Johnson Jr.
Because we want to get as much as we possibly can with this one grant.
Yes.
So that's why we really can't send two.
Right.
Because it'd be like another.
You do have the choice of limiting it to the sidewalks, and I'm sure that the expense of the sidewalks is not going to be that high. I think it will get funded.
Well, this sidewalk on Church Street has a telephone pole in the middle, so that's got to be moved. So that's going to be an issue. It's also a slope on the right side, so that might have to be built up. So it could be a little bit more expensive than we think.
Okay.
I think if that sidewalk is the standard 4 to 6 feet wide, it's going to have to be, that hill's going to be built up somehow or another to hold that sidewalk.
Okay, then you may just want to just leave it at Church Street then at this point.
Okay, yeah, because
and
it is
then
a slope over there.
we'll brief you on the Ward 1 streets that they've identified.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Only thing I was doing that at some point, when you identify those other streets, that you bring it to the council, names of those streets.
And Councilmember Herring, you're saying that it's going to come back to council
Once we get approved.
Once we get approved
For the funding, yeah.
of picking the streets. Okay. All right. All right. So this resolution is good as is.
Yes.
With the amendment of changing it under item number 1 from December 6th to December the 8th.
Correct.
Any other discussion before we move on? Any opposition? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, R-26-2024 is approved as amended. Last on the legislative agenda is Resolution R-27-2024, resolution authorizing the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, to break for recess in December 2023, which is essentially just not to have the 3 regular scheduled meetings. So the sponsor is James Herring, Councilmember James Herring. The public hearing was held on November 14, 2023. The date of introduction was November 6, 2023. Whereas pursuant to Section 304A of the City Charter, the Council is authorized to cancel regular scheduled meetings and Now, therefore, be it resolved by the council of the city of Glenarden, sitting in regular session this 20th day of November 2023, has determined that, number one, the city council of Glenarden, Maryland, does hereby cancel the regular meetings for the month of December 2023, during which time it will be in recess. And number two, special meetings shall be called by the clerk of the council upon the request of the president of the council or a majority of the members of the council. And number three, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Moved by Member Jones. Is there, excuse me, second?
Second.
It was 2 seconds.
I'm coming to you, Mr. Palpatine. Second by Vice President Ferguson. Madam, any discussion? Madam Parliamentarian.
Recommendation after, number one, in the recess until when?
January 2024.
Number one.
Oh, number one, you want us to add the City Council of Glenarden does hereby cancel regular meetings for the month of December 2023, during which time it will be in recess until January 2024. January the 2nd, 2024. Okay?
No, isn't January?
Any other discussion? Okay. Any opposition? Hearing none by unanimous consent, this resolution is hereby approved. Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. President, before we leave legislation.
I was going to say something.
Councilman Guillaume?
I was going to say point of order, Council President, if possible. Can I did mention this at the work session, and so I'd like to add something to the agenda, just R35 2023. Is it okay for us to just bring that to the floor? And I can tell you what R35 2023 is. It's it pertains to the Gold Room rules. It's the resolution to revise the rules, regulations, and fee schedules for the Gold Room and Community Center at Woodmore Town Center. I'd like to bring it up to rescind R-35 2023, if that's possible.
So, thank you, Councilman Guillaume. Madam Parliamentarian? Okay, so we can add it. We just need a proof from the council. Okay. Are there any objections?
Yes, she had a motion. Was the motion made?
Do we go by motion? Okay. Is there a motion to add resolution R-35-2023 to the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Guillaume, seconded
Second.
by Councilmember Herring. Any discussion?
I mean, what is it that we're going to do with this resolution?
I'd like to rescind this resolution because like I mentioned it during the work session, but when this resolution went into passage, it went into passage with a lot of inaccuracies, and it defied what the council said that it would do, specifically referencing the June 21st meeting where the council stated in detail what this resolution should cover. So when it was voted upon on July 6th, The things that went in there were things that were not supposed to be in there, such as the fees that were in there. We did not vote nor agree upon a new fee scale for rental. And there has been a lot, at least 4 council members have heard about different citizens who had to actually deal with different rental rates. There's also on page 16 and 17 of the rules where we had clearly stated certain things in there, and those things are not referenced. And then the other thing also is we were very clear to say that this was supposed to be a resolution to focus on the Gold Room and to separate it from the Woodmore Town Center space. And so this is just at least 3 inaccuracies that are in this legislation as it stands right now. So I move to rescind it for the council to vote upon.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Guillaume. Madam Parliamentarian?
Yeah, she should not be given, the councilwoman should not be given explanation. All she wants to do is move to add that to the agenda. Okay, once you vote on that, then she can bring her recommendation, the item to the floor to rescind that item. You have to vote on whether or not you want to rescind it.
Okay, so what's on the floor now is a motion to add it to the agenda. Any objections to adding it to the agenda? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, it's been added. Councilwoman Guillaume, we've heard, okay, well, let's do, is there a motion to, bring it to the floor to rescind?
To rescind, yes.
Is there a motion to bring resolution R-35-2023 to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Guillaume. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Ferguson. Any further discussion? We've heard Councilwoman Guillaume. Is there any other discussion on this item? Councilwoman Jones.
I just want to add this for the record, that resolution was done, the legal sufficiency was done by Kevin Karpinski. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Any other discussion?
I just want to say that this is not about the legality of it, Council President. I just want, and Councilwoman Jones, this is about what the intended purpose of this resolution was. And if all council members said that we were going to introduce the resolution based on one thing, and then when it's passed and it's not referencing what we spoke on, then I am morally going to rescind or make a motion to rescind. And I also want to thank the parliamentarian for providing order for this particular process.
Understood, Councilwoman Guillaume.
Thank you. I'll just call for a voice vote for rescinding R-35-2023. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
Council President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote carries.
Okay. Now that was the last item on the legislative agenda. Next up are the administrative reports. First up is the mayor's report. Mayor Cross on the line. Mayor Cross?
Yes. Yes, sir, Council President. Can you hear me?
Yes, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. So, thank you so much. And the mayor's report puts in.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, 1 second. Mr. Gray, it's hard for us to hear in here. Could you turn the volume up, please? Could you stop her time, please, as well? Or start it over? Better yet. Mr. Gray, we can having a hard time hearing the people online. Could you turn the volume up, please? If you give me confirmation, then I'll go forward with Mayor Cross.
Good.
All right. My apologies, Mayor Cross. You can proceed now.
Thank you. So the mayor's report for September to October, I'm hearing an echo. Are you?
No, we do not hear echo.
Okay, thank you. It is a concern relative to some of the resolutions that we've signed, relative to the financial expenditures, really for the city council. There are actions that have, in my opinion, used more funding out of the taxpayers' dollars, which should have gone back into different things like roads and streets and sidewalks relative to the financial line item 103010 8647, which has already about $94,090 in it. And then we have a resolution, ordinance that comes, forgive me, ordinance 01-2024, which is an emergency ordinance to appropriate a reallocation of funds for the fiscal year 2024 budget. Now that reallocation went for the work that is necessary for the nutrition center, which is supporting our Glenarden seniors, citizens, went for some council chamber work, went for some roads and some other infrastructure design items that the city really needs. But in amongst that, there was also a special events and then also the payment for the attorney to fight against Alta Woodmore. Alta Woodmore was one of those concerns that we had relative to it already being in site plan design. And I think this comes to where we have to understand what it is. When something is in site design, there really isn't any chance to win it, though we put money against it. With that, I just highlight the need for us to really put a handle on the expenditures, particularly as it pertains to city council special events programming and the reallocation of taxpayer dollars consistently throughout the year to do special things that should have been really accounted for during the time of the budget season in June. I do acknowledge that we had a wonderful support for the Mayoral Community Forum. We addressed mothers and fathers that have lost our young folks, and we're talking to the need for us to build programming in our community. Unity centers need to be put up, and programs, not necessarily those that are sponsored by the county or the state, but the city of Glenarden to take and put an investment on the ground for our children. We have architectural service contracts that were signed, as well as a resolution to declare the surplus of the cable equipment. These are things, when we're talking about surplus, which gives us more space back, those are great resolutions. Acknowledge that for the mothers and fathers that have lost, we did have an opportunity to speak to them, to grow an idea of building a civility training in the city of Glenarden. With that, we also brought forth opportunities for community counseling and community support. It's really important that we also look at the need for us to build a structure around elevating our legislative priorities from the city of Glenarden to also look at how it impacts across the county and the state. With much of the development that's happening in the county that's coming and hitting Glenarden right now, we really need to put a strategic plan in place that includes not just the council, but the mayor and the city administration as a team have an actual offsite where we can plan strategically what does Glenarden look like. As we look at the new police building that we're trying to fund, I relatively have a problem with it being the newest thing on the ground, because my concern is it presents a picture of us policing versus us being a part of the community as well as ensuring safety. So with the municipal center in its very elderly age, we know that there's really some brownouts and different things that are happening in the municipal center. It needs to have a revamp. I recommend, though, if we build a building, that we put in place an opportunity for us to have, no kidding, a municipal center integrated with the police department that is a $6 million multi-functional facility that enables our citizens, as well as our safety, as well as our community development, with space for training and building our second and third generation stronger than ever. So hopeful that we will consider those things as we move forward in the city of Glenarden. With the roads, there is a concern about Tyrell. The children walk to Otwood Ogmore in the street. Seniors walk in the streets. Tyrell needs a sidewalk. So the community development program, the reinvestment programs need to also envelop not just Ward 1, just Lavania Woods. Church Street is an excellent one, but also consider Tyrell, where we have tons of safety issues and concerns. I really am concerned someone's going to get hurt, particularly our seniors, as the traffic has improved. So thank you. I did meet with the Woodmore Town Center, Glenarden, on the roads with DR Horton. I was able to explain to them what's happening in our streets with 1 foot of water in some places standing after a major storm, that there is a need to convince them that we go back to the plans that we started, which had drainage systems that flooded not all the water to one drain, but allowed spacer drains to take the water off the street to prevent cracking and to preserve the integrity of the roads in Woodmore Town Center at Glenarden. And with that, Council President, there's a lot of legislative priorities on place for recidivism, for building legislation for our children, training, civility training, as well as getting after community reinvestment and financial literacy and home ownership. So thank you so much. If there are any other questions, I'll take them at this time.
Thank you, Mayor Cross. Are there any questions from the council for the mayor's report? Councilmember Harris.
Yes, Mr. President. Okay, Mayor, I was hoping you would have changed your report and took out some of this information that's inaccurate. Let me just say, we've all been up here working really hard and diligently for the citizens in this community. And so we thought it would be a great idea to offer the citizens a Thanksgiving dinner, which would have cost us $10,000. And we also added another $6,000 to the budget for an attorney that we're using to make sure that we redo the charter in a way that's going to be legally sufficient and it's going to meet our legal challenges. So I'm not sure where you're getting a 633% more in tax dollars. Only thing we added to the budget was $16,000, and that's like 0.002% of a $6 million budget. So that number is completely wrong and inaccurate. And I think when you put stuff out here, you do that to get the citizens in a row. And unfortunately, they think that you're telling the truth and you're not. Again, we've spent, yes, $94,000, and you add another $10,000, $104,000. But we've also had Glenarden Day, which we had over 500 people there. We had over 100 and something people up at the Thanksgiving Day luncheon. We were able to expunge over 100 and something criminal records for people who were convicted of crimes years ago. So we were able to expunge a number of records. So I can show what we are doing without money. Can you show what you're doing with what you're spending? Because when I talk to the citizens in the community, they don't know anything about your programs. They don't know anything. I mean, last year you gave away 500 turkeys, and I don't know now one person in my area, maybe one or two, that may have gotten a turkey from you. We advertise in the community. We send flyers out to our community and to our citizens so that they know what's going on and what events are coming up. So I don't think to sit here and say that we're, what did you say? We're basically hiding money. We're stashing an additional $16,000. Now, were you at the work session when we discussed this, Mayor?
Oh, yes, I was at every work session, but as you recall.
No, I just asked the question. I just asked the question, Mayor. Were you at the work session when we discussed adding the $16,000, $6,000 for the attorney and the $10,000 for the Thanksgiving luncheon? You were at the work session, correct?
Had my hand raised and was not called to speak by the council president, and that's a persistent problem.
Mayor, all I wanted to know is that you were there and it was at the work session. So how are we stashing anything away? When you say stashing money away, you're trying to make it seem like we're trying to hide something, and we discussed it in an open meeting.
Point of order.
Point of clarity.
So no.
Point of clarity.
No. Point of order. Mayor Cross, if a councilman asks you a question, you can answer the question, but you cannot go off on your own tangent because a council member has the floor. Councilmember Herring has the floor. If you would like to answer the question, you can answer the question. If you do not wish to answer the question, you do not have to. But after you answer it, then the floor is back to Councilmember Herring. If you continue to talk, no one can understand what either of you are saying, so that is a disruption to the meeting. So please do not do that. Now, with that, I believe your answer was yes, you were at the work session. Councilman Herring, you have the floor.
Yes, and also
Point of clarity. Point of clarity.
Yeah.
The councilman.
One second, Mayor Cross. At this point, we're not recognizing your point of clarity because it's out of order. As a parliamentarian has suggested, Councilmember Herring has the floor.
Okay.
But he can't choose how I answer the question.
Mayor Cross.
He cannot choose how I answer the question.
Mayor Cross, so now I'm trying to keep you in the meeting, Mayor Cross. I am following the order by a parliamentarian who is here to help us keep the order of the meeting. A parliamentarian who is specialized in this area has said that Councilman Herring has the floor. So he has the floor. So this is your first warning for interrupting the meeting. I would like it if you stay the entire meeting, so please do not interrupt the meeting again. Thank you. If he has a question, if any member has a question, then we'll come back to you. Thank you. Councilman Herring, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. So yeah, I was just questioning, I'm making a statement because she already answered my question.
1 second. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, because she already answered my question, which was, was she at the meeting? So again, we're not stashing anything. We're actually speaking of these projects and programs publicly and how we intend to, and what we intend to have with them. Can I say the same about your programs? Because I never know what's going on. I never see anything until after it's, I can't even say after it's over. But again, you're sitting here saying that it's a waste of taxpayers' money, and we could have, when you were doing the food giveaway, that has absolutely nothing to do with the city council. You do your food. You've done your food giveaway year after year since you've been in office. And I'm gonna tell you honestly, I've never gotten one invite to come and participate at all. You sit there and talk about community and everything else, but you have these events, and I don't even know what's going on. I can't even figure out what's going on until a citizen would ask me, "Well, what's going on? I mean, when is this turkey giveaway happening?" And I'm like, "I'll let you know when I find out. When I find out, you'll know, and it's usually the same day that it's happening because I'm riding by and seeing turkeys given away." So for you to sit there and say, we could. Align ourselves with what you were doing. What you were doing has absolutely nothing to do with what we did on Saturday. And the people came in on Saturday and they enjoyed themselves. And also for attorney, we need an attorney as we work on this charter so that we don't have to have attorney after we do. And so, you put all of this stuff in here, you're saying it's abuse of the citizens' tax dollars. No, abuse of the citizens' tax dollars is when events happen and we, as the council, don't know what's being spent, where it's coming from, or anything else. You have plenty of programs, and I cannot tell you, not to this day, how they've been funded. Not one of them how they've been funded, except for the Polar Express, because it happens in the gold room and you use money from the budget. But other than that, some of the other programs, I don't know where you got 500 turkeys from. I know we didn't pay for them. You never disclosed that information. So if anybody is stashing money or being sneaky, it's you. You know, so I don't appreciate you saying this council is doing anything illegal or underhanded or hiding anything when we've been open on everything we've done. Like I say, with the Charter Review Committee, we have open meetings on that constantly. We discuss all our events openly. You know, we submit budgets and everything to the council for the events that we do have. You know, so, and I don't think having an event, a luncheon for the citizens of Glenarden is tacky and a waste of money or wasteful tactics, and it's a violation of our fiduciary responsibility. I think what we're doing is bringing the community together, which is what we were put in office to try to do, move the city along. So like I said, again, I was hoping that you would not bring this to the floor. I thought, hoping you would have looked it over and maybe put some truths out there, but you know, to say something that's a waste of 633% of more of the city's tax dollars, no, that's not true. That's not true at all, you know? So, you know, that's all I really have to say. You know, I just don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate people putting stuff out there that's not accurate, that's not true. You know, when we're trying to do the best we can to bring this community up, and you're making it look like this council's up here doing something shady and underhanded, and we're not. We've been more open than any other time, you know, and more open than the events that you have, you know, because I still don't understand what happened with that Easter egg hunt that happened over at the recreation center where you weren't there, but you got the recreation center for somebody that was, you know, so. You know, that's shady and underhanded. That's what we need to look at. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Herring. Any other comments from the council or comments from?
Point of clarity.
1 second, Mayor Cross. Mayor Cross, what's your point of clarity?
Councilman Herring asked a question relative to what I've been doing, and I think that requires a statement from the mayor. The mayor makes $7,000
no, ma'am. That was a rhetorical question. Matter of fact, I don't want to assume. I don't want to assume, Mayor Cross.
Why can't I answer the question? Why
Mayor
is it that I always get cut off? Why can't the mayor answer the question?
Mayor Cross, I will ask Councilmember Herring what was his intent. Councilmember,
give me one dime.
Mayor Cross,
I pay everything from
Mayor
my own
Cross,
budget.
could you please just give me a second? I will ask Mr. Herring if he was asking you a question, then you can answer the question.
The city council's budget.
All right. So at this point, can you please remove the mayor from the meeting?
Don't be fooled, citizens. This is the tactic. Don't be fooled.
So
ridiculous. Why won't you let me answer the question?
It's Mayor Cross.
Why don't you let me answer my own questions?
Mayor Cross, I gave you point of clarity. I came back to you.
But you're not.
I can't listen to what I'm saying, Mayor Cross. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. As council president, you're not listening. As council president, it is my job to keep the peace of the meeting.
Don't give me a dime.
To lead the meeting. I
don't even have money to pay to represent you.
Listen to what I'm. Mayor Cross, I would very much like you to continue to be a part of this meeting, but you cannot be a part of this meeting. Mr. Gray, can you please remove the mayor from the meeting?
Mr. Gray.
To the citizens online, I do apologize. I would very much like the mayor to be a part of the meeting, but she cannot be a part of the meeting if it's going to be a shouting match or she's just going to take over the meeting. Mr. Herring had the floor at the advisement of the parliamentarian who is an expert in council meetings. He should have continued the floor, which is why I went back to Councilmember Herring and did not continue with Mayor Cross. At the end of Councilmember Herring's comments, I then heard the Mayor Cross's point of clarity. She wanted to go into another explanation of what she wanted to explain, which was not the appropriate time. Unless Councilmember Herring wanted an answer for what she thought she was doing with her time, which I was trying to ask Councilmember Herring, but I could not because the mayor kept on over talking me. I would like to clear up one thing, just to piggyback on Councilmember Herring's point. The strategizing or having a strategic plan is not new to the city of Glenarden. In fact, the city council, while trying to work with the mayor, wanted to come together for a strategic plan, but that was derailed when the mayor unfortunately brought a mob to the city based on a lie that she was being overthrown and removed from office. Unfortunately, we had to sidetrack the strategic plan to address those circumstances that, again, were completely false. And after citizens were made aware of the truth, then we moved on and we tried to work extensively with the mayor time and time again, but the mayor has refused to work with the city council. We do not know when her events are. Citizens don't know when she's holding events. We've tried to work with her to make sure that she's covered from an ethical standpoint. Our city attorney has advised her to keep track of the gifts that she received, and the council and the city treasurer has asked the mayor numerous times for a record of the TVs that she's received, the toaster ovens that she received, all the gifts that she's received, so that she can give an account for it and that can go to citizens. She has yet, it's been 2 years, she has yet to provide our treasurer with that information. Again, the city attorney has advised her to deliver that information so she can cover herself, so she won't get in any trouble. She has yet to deliver that information. The council, anything that we have is on the agenda. Council members provide to the city treasurer a full accounting of all the events that we have for our citizens, and that way we provide transparency. So with that, I will leave that there. Unfortunately, we cannot ask any more questions of the mayor because she's no longer in the meeting. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Oh, and I'm sorry, one more point, because unfortunately the normalcy of untruths that are coming from the mayor's office, and again, as I said before, the council has not tried to sling mud back, even though the occupant of the mayor's office has slung a lot of mud here. This is the same mayor who sued the city of Glenarden and asked the judge to appoint her to be mayor. Not only that, as we are talking about tax citizens' dollars, she also asked the judge that taxpayers pay her lawyer fee as she sued the city of Glenarden. So I'm kind of at a loss for when she wants to pick and choose when she's concerned about taxpayer dollars. You cannot sue the city of Glenarden and ask the judge for the citizens to pay your legal fees and then come back, a couple years later saying that, she's now interested in taxpayers' funds. That just doesn't make sense to me. So moving on. And I just want to apologize just for the disruption in the sidebar that we had to have. So next up on the item on the agenda is the city manager and combined administrative reports. City manager Habita.
Thank you. The report that you have in front of you is a report from me and a combined report that includes human resources specialists report for the month of September 21 to October 20th, 2023. Also includes the gold room and code enforcement as well. And there is, under my report, I wanted to point out that the some of the items that are listed here in terms of what has happened in October. Following up on that, it references a meeting with Senator Gazone coming here to take a tour That happened on October 24th. It was a good meeting with Senator Benson and Senator Gazone with the tour. As far as what's upcoming in October and November, some of this has already happened. The letter went out to the county executive with copies to Jolene Ivy on the public safety surcharge fees collected from 2008 to 2023 for new development in the city. And the letter that was sent to the county executive was to ask them to meet their legal obligation under law to provide 25%, a minimum of 25% of the surcharge funds collected by the county from new development in the city to the city of Glenarden for the purpose of constructing the new public safety building to house the city police department. That letter stated that under that 25%, the minimum would be $835,000 coming to the city for the city public safety building. The also references upcoming for November. Last week, the package of the new police building was sent over to Senator Benson to the bond bill for submission of bond bill for the General Assembly process for 2024. We've had proposals submitted for capital projects, including the renovation of the council chambers and the nutrition center that have come up. The nutrition center and council chambers proposals have been received, but were not received in time for the November meeting, so they'll come up in January. Also wanted to let you know the Intergenerational Poverty Fund has been active. Applications have been received. We thank VP Ferguson and others for pointing folks in our direction for that fund. We have exhausted the Good Samaritan Fund, so this one is now active. And I do want to introduce somebody here this evening. James Green is here, the new code manager. This is his second week. Last week, on the second day that he was here, he and the staff worked on getting the violation notices out to the house that's overgrown in Glenarden Parkway at Bright Seat Road. That was the subject of council inquiry as well as the mayor's inquiry from citizens who are concerned about it.
I do have a question.
Okay.
There's another fund for home improvements. Has that started yet?
That's the Intergenerational Poverty Fund. That's the one we're accepting applications for home improvements, maximum of $4,000 per household.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted that point of clarification.
Yeah.
And I believe I sent one to you guys.
We've gotten a number, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. One second. Treasurer Stewart, you can speak. Just turn your mic on.
Yeah, turn your mic on so we can hear you.
Yes, there is the Community Resilience Fund as well. So you have the intergenerational. We had the Good Samaritan that ended, and then there is a Community Resilience, and that has actually started.
I'm sorry. 1 second. But thank you for that clarity. So there's the Community Resilience Fund, intergenerational fund, and the
Good Samaritan, which has exhausted.
And so the
Generational
is starting up now.
Which one is the home improvements?
That one. Intergenerational poverty.
Okay, thank you.
Home improvement.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Green, I apologize.
That's okay.
Okay,
Councilman.
So we'll get to you, Ms. Green, in 1 second. So it looks as if there are other people trying to join the meeting, which we think is the mayor. And I'll just leave it to the council. I don't mind the mayor coming back as long as she is respectful and follow the rules of the meeting. I'll leave it up to the council on whether we would add her back.
Mr. President, I guess my issue would be that the members that's trying to join it's not the mayor, it's members of her family. So can we technically omit them because they are still citizens of the community? But if she starts speaking, then we can remove her if you want to keep her removed.
Okay. Well, her family members are welcome. We just. Yeah. Okay. Okay, for members who have just joined, we ask that you please mute your phones. We welcome you to participate. There's actually a part of this meeting where you can speak as a citizen. We just ask that you speak at the appropriate time. Having said that, Mr. Green, this is your first meeting. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I just want to say good evening to the mayor and council, staff, and citizens of the city of Glenarden. Again, my name is James Green, and I'm excited to be the code enforcement manager. I plan on bringing my knowledge and experience and positive attitude to my duties. But most importantly, I look forward to serving the citizens of the city of Glenarden. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Any questions for code enforcement? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are you good to go?
Yes. I did want to point out that the code enforcement for September and October is here, and you'll notice on the on there that they were heavily focused on vehicle difficulties of having commercial vehicles parked on the grass, that kind of thing. And they are, 2 of them were parked on the grass, and yes, so we are watching that.
And are we going to get rid of the old cars? I see the one that's in the parking lot.
Yes.
Okay.
That will come to council for surplus at some point, and probably in January.
All right. Next up, Department of Public Works. Mr. Simpson.
Good evening. Just going to highlight a few things and maybe give some updates as it relates to my report and go over that. Currently, we still have 2 vacancies. However, the interview process is beginning. My hope is to have hires definitely for the end of the year, if not the end of this month, if possible. We're well underway with leaf seasons, and I'm sure everyone can't miss that. There are definitely an abundance of leaves here. It seems like there are even more leaves than last year, but we're working diligently to deal with that definitely almost every day, at least a few days a week. Update on our purchase, the dump truck. The dump body has been installed on it. The plow and spreader should be finished up hopefully by Friday, but I'm told by next week we should have that, and then we will be ready for the lighting and the decals to be placed on the dump truck. Mowers are here right on time again because of leaf season. So we do have them. They're functioning. The 72-inch and 60-inch, Public Works actually love them, and they are working rather well. We are still providing some support with the Go Room until they get fully staffed, and we'll continue to do so. Update you guys probably have seen on the MLK Playground site. There was damaged equipment there. We have removed that and also repaired the flooring, and look forward to getting new equipment, upon approval from the council. That is just some brief updates, and I'm open for any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Councilman Bahari.
the equipment that you removed, did you reach out to the company that installed it about any type of warranty on that?
So I reached out to Allrex. I couldn't get a hold of the actual people. Allrex was the company that did the install of the newer flooring and the newer equipment. As far as the previous company, didn't have any updating information on that.
Playground specialist.
Okay.
That's who it was.
Okay.
Playground specialist. So you may want to reach out to them and see if there's some type of warranty on that. Yeah, we spent quite a bit of money on that. So yeah, another question is, why have the sandwich boards been out for a month?
Well, we kind of determined, and I know you mentioned this before, Ms. Herring, it seems to be more wear and tear when we physically move them. We'll do that. I was just concerned more about the wear and tear when we physically move them. It seemed easier to just be able to remove the slats, and then now that we know another meeting's not going to happen for a couple weeks, then we leave it out. But like last week's meeting, we could have certainly did that, and if that's something that you guys want us to do, we certainly will. But from the standpoint of the wear and tear, I kind of said, hey, let's kind of leave those out there until we know what's what with meetings.
I mean, my thing is sitting them out there is wear and tear because people mess with them. And again, sitting them out there all week long, I don't want to sit in my neighborhood all week long when you're riding down there. If you want to leave them out and the other council members want to leave them out, take them up in Ward 1. I don't want anybody riding down Ward 1 seeing those signs out there all week long. You know, they shouldn't have to be out there all week long. And a lot of times I saw the wear and tear was the way they were being loaded and unloaded onto those trucks. And they take them, they throw them on there and it breaks those slats. And that was the main issue with that. So like I said, I don't like seeing them out. That's just me. I don't think they should be sitting out there. We have a sign ordinance in the city of Glenarden. We don't allow other people to have signs all over this community. I don't expect we should have those signs sitting out all month long. I don't understand. I mean, you got enough people, they can pick them up and take them out like they've been doing all these years. Let's show what changed. Okay. All right, thanks.
I mean, I don't mind it, but certainly would it be
No, like I said, we just kind of, I know when I've moved them, I said, hey, I didn't want to wear and tear on that. However, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
We can certainly, we can handle that.
Not a big deal for me.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
I'm done.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Next up is the Chief of Police report.
Good evening, everyone. In reference to my report for September, October, I have only highlighted, we had several robberies of Bath and Body Works up at the shopping center. As of last week, made 2 arrests of 2 females, one who had several warrants for the same offense in Virginia and a different part of Maryland for Bath and Body Works. So we're able, Glenarden police officers were able to apprehend that suspect, and she was extradited back to Virginia for additional charges. We're working with Prince George's County Police Department for the holiday visibility in the shopping centers. Woodmore Town Center is our main shopping center, but they are assisting us as that's one of their shopping centers also. We continue to enforce traffic stops in the city of Glenarden. This past week, we recovered, as a result of traffic stops, we're able to recover 2 handguns from 2 different individuals going through the city of Glenarden. One of them had multiple warrants. And we're just asking the citizens to continue to be vigilant and call us when they see something that they think that needs police intervention. The weather has changed now, so we also are telling citizens to make sure when they start their cars up, make sure they're locked. Don't leave them unattended. We just had a stolen auto from the 7-Eleven where the individual decided to leave his car running and go inside and say he wanted to keep his vehicle warm. When he came out and found it stolen. And also this time of year, there's a lot of package deliveries. Just be vigilant and careful about that because that will start picking up. That's all I have for the Chief of Police report. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
the last point about the package deliveries, I know last year there was actually a car following the trucks and waiting for the delivery man to drop the package off and then stealing the packets. And I think, Glenarden police responded to that. Is there any plans from your department to do more canvassing during the Christmas season? I think it happened more closer to the Christmas day.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is actually it's a company. I just met with those guys 2 weeks ago. They actually delivery company, especially UPS. They're hiring off-duty police officers to ride in unmarked cars and follow these vehicles for the safety of the driver, especially since they had 2 robberies. The one that the latest one that they had in Westphalia that fell on us. Yeah. So that's some of the steps they're taking. And also, we give them our direct numbers to our supervisors so they can we can respond faster, and that's how we was able to close out the arrests at Bath and Body Works. So we're working and trying to expedite the calls to make arrests. So there's some of the things we're doing.
And any advice to citizens? For citizens who may encounter somebody coming on their porch, or what would you advise citizens to do if they encountered someone trying to steal?
That's a great question. Anytime I had an email today in reference to that, my suggestion and for safety is make sure you call the police. Do not encounter the individual. The packages and stuff can be replaced. Most of the time they're insured. And most people have Ring cameras now, and we can take that footage if we get a clear visual of the person and stuff, and get that information out. We can make the arrest, but we don't want anybody jeopardizing their safety for a package. And we preach that all the time, and that's my response in the email today. And I also encourage the citizens, if you see something, call the police and let us investigate it. And that's my advice. Do not encounter these individuals.
And can we send out a note, citizen? Do you think that would be a good idea?
You can.
Yeah. Can we send notices to citizens all the time? Maybe it'd be a good idea to put that message in writing to make sure, hey, be extra vigilant during this season. Don't try to encounter these individuals.
Yeah, we put it out. It's part of the newsletter that's coming up, but we get that information out.
There we go.
Yeah, it's already up for the newsletter, but the newsletter's not due yet, but we get it out on a separate information.
Already thinking ahead, Chief.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. President, man.
Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I just like to ask that we have our officers be a little bit more vigilant when patrolling to make sure, because a lot of people are not home during the day when these porch pirates come around.
Exactly.
So I'm just asking that they do a little bit more, be a little bit more vigilant when it comes down to things like that.
Right. As I stated earlier, in previous meetings, I have officers assigned to wards, so they're held accountable for wards and stuff. So I'm holding them accountable to make sure that certain areas are covered. If it's not covered, I know who to go to and how to address them in reference to that. So they've been doing a good job of that, and accountability, and been getting more positive feedback from citizens as of late. So thank you very much.
One other thing. What about the shooting on 704? I heard a little bit about it and not too much, but you didn't mention it in your report.
Yes, the next report, but I can give you a quick update on that. In reference to that, had an individual that lives in the area. We believe, working with the county, that's involved in some illegal activities. As a result of that, it was an incident that went down where this individual was in his vehicle, left an establishment, got in a vehicle, and proceeded to go back to his place of residence, at which time unknown suspects fired several shots from their vehicle at his vehicle. This individual got struck. As a result of that, Of course, he went back home. Police responded to the scene. This individual was trying to get somebody else to take him to the hospital, at which time we intervened and had the fire board respond to take this individual to the hospital. Of course, the detectives interviewed this individual, and of course, no information sharing at this particular time. So we're still working to try to obtain some more leads in reference to that. We were able to obtain some footage from one of the stores in the area, so we do have a couple leads. But as far as the case itself and the victim, no compliance. So that's normal in these type of cases. But we're still working on that.
So you're saying the individual who got shot was involved in illegal activity also?
It's known.
Known. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Chief Bryant.
All right.
Last but not least, City Treasurer's report.
Good night, everyone. As usual, I'm going to give you a quick review or a quick update. This report that I have here is since September, and given that fact, I think I need to give you more updated numbers, especially for the cash updates. So as of today, November 20th, 2023, the main cash account had $3,142,873. The forbearance account had $7,078. The gold room account has $191,000. The cable PG account has $340,000. So in total, we have $3,585,000 as current cash accounts. For the investment account currently has $8,098,482. The highway user fund, which is in the PNC account, has $365,000, and the PNC account for the savings has $81,000, for a total of $8,545,169. In the last meeting, we spoke about some grants that were won from the grants management, and I just want to bring to your attention that one of the questions that was asked is if the fund had actually came into the account. Mr. O'Connor explained to me that these grants were actually reimbursable grants. So in some sense, we have to at least provide the invoices to the grants in order to get the funds reimbursed or to get the funds in the account. I think one of the resolutions we are doing now for the radios is one of them that we are trying to get reimbursed for. So given that it's passed, now we could move forward in recovering these funds. And that's it. And unless you have any questions, I'm open to your answer.
Thank you, Treasurer Stewart. Any questions from the council?
Yes.
Councilman Bahari?
You gave us September's report. Where's October?
October is actually ready. I will be sending it out by tomorrow.
Okay. You're familiar with Chapter 20 of the City Code?
It says that the reports must be sent out by the 20th of the next month. So that's today.
Exactly. So we don't have it today. So what's going on there?
Nothing much. I will have it out tomorrow.
Okay. I'd like to ask the council president, Mr. President, have you received bank statements? Have you received any bank statements?
No, I have not received.
Mr. Treasurer?
Oh, so the last statement I sent out was for the end of September. So the one for October, which would have opened, I actually got them late. I got them last week. I could actually go on the bank account to send them to you. I will have those sent to you tomorrow as well.
You have a follow-up question?
Do I? Oh, you can?
Yeah. Is it possible just to, since I'm a signer on the checks, to get it automatically sent to me? Just look into it. If you don't know, just look into it.
Yes.
For a guest user to receive statements. If I'm a signer on the account, then I should be able to get statements.
The statement actually come here via mail. They're not sent via email.
But there should be an option though. Electronic for everyone should be an
There is
option.
option, but it's a choice between one or the other.
Yeah.
But I will definitely look to see how we could have those sent to you. One thing they do in the email is advise you that they are ready for you to go on and view them. So the statements aren't sent directly to you. An email is sent from the bank to say these account statements are ready for you to view. So in those cases, yes.
Okay.
That's all fine and good for SunTrust, but the section 20, subsection 20-5 says all statements, all bank statements are to be provided to the council president by the 20th of each month. And I was wondering, has he had any? And I'm sure you said, since you said you haven't, you're, I guess, 2 years behind getting them to them. Bank reconciliations. Subsection 20-4 says all bank reconciliations shall be sent to the council by the 20th of each month following the end of each quarter. So we should be having bank reconciliations for July through August through September for all your bank accounts. And I would like to get those as well as the rest of the council is required under code. And I've never gotten them, so I guess you're 2 years behind on that too.
I will follow up on those and get those to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Herring. Any other questions from council members? Madam Parliamentarian?
Yes. As a signer of the check, you should be able to, in dealing with corporations, you should be able to go in and review the bank statement. Number two, there is a ruling that the same person that writes the check should not receive those documents, and that the person should be able to review those documents. So there is a procedure for that.
Okay.
There is a procedure that should be reviewed. You can go in and look at
Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. Madam Parliamentarian, for those online who can't hear, was advising that there is a ruling where the council president should receive said statements from the treasurer's office.
Mr. President, I do want to follow up on that.
I'm sorry, I heard her first. The clarifying question from Councilmember Jones was from the treasurer or from the bank? Get it from the bank. Yes. Thank you. Good, Councilman.
Yes.
Councilman Harry.
Yes. I've dealt with Truist, and Truist they send you the paper, and you can also go online and get the account. I know I've done it. You can sign it with Treasury Management and get statements. And we also got the paper statements. So, and I'm not sure, because like you said, Bank of America, I set my people up to get it automatically so that they automatically got the statements so they can do their bank recs in a timely manner. So I'm not sure what's going on with Truist and their online features, but I know it can be done. But, we need to look into that and see.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Treasurer Stewart from other council members before we move on? All right. Next up, citizens' comments. Citizens, now's your opportunity to speak. You will have 5 minutes to speak. You can speak on anything that you would like. If you are in the room and would like to speak, just raise your hand and I will call on you. If you're online, please raise your virtual hand and then I'll acknowledge you. If you do not know how to raise your virtual hand, please open your mic and I'll acknowledge you then. With that, as I stated, you have 5 minutes. If you wish to ask questions during your 5 minutes, you may do so, but your 5 minutes will continue. The suggestion from the council is that you ask all your questions within your 5 minutes, say whatever you want to say, and then after your 5 minutes, then we will respond so as not to take up your time. With that being said, the floor is open to citizens' comments.
Council President, they are all muted because of the corruption, so they'll have to raise.
Okay. Thank you. So, and is there any? Okay. Well, what she's saying is that she has to unmute them individually. So if they do not know how to raise their virtual hand, then. Reflection. If you do not know how to raise your virtual hand, or for those online, you can go to Reflection, and you should be able to raise your hand that way. All right. With that,
You raise your hand.
I have my hand up.
I see Mr. Mario Cross. Mr. Cross, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, I would just like to state that.
One second, Mr. Cross. We can barely hear you. Ms. Gray, can you turn them up, please? Just give me confirmation when it's been turned up, Mr. Gray, and I can let him go.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Mr. Cross, you can continue.
Yes, I would like to make a statement about the mayor's budget. The mayor does not have a budget for all of her events that she put on. I just like to state that to all the citizens. And all of the things that Mayor Cross do for the citizens is coming out of my budget, out of Cross Entertainment, out of my pocket to pay for everything that she has done. All of the events that she is putting on is not coming out of her budget because the mayor does not have a budget to operate on. The mayor has put out 8,000 pounds of food, clothing, and other supplies to the citizens of Glenarden. And they did the internet. She did the internet notebooks, and for the 5G what's that, ACP program. Directed several different school programs to help out with the school with the exchange supplies. Over 530 attendants at the largest volunteer vendor event. All of those events are supported by me out of our personal college funds, out of our children's budget. It is not coming from the city's funds. She does not have a budget to do all of these events. So anything that the council is talking about that the mayor is not supporting or doing with her funding, it's inaccurate. So please, 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 when you talk about the mayor, make sure that there's a facts and statements that are correct, because what she do is coming out of her heart and her love for the people on the ground. She is doing this from the ground up. She is not doing this just for giggles and popularity. She is doing this from the heart. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Mr. Foster.
Hi, good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Madam Clerk, 5 minutes for Mr. Foster. Mr. Foster, you have 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. I just simply want to say on behalf of the Wilmore Town Center HOA that we appreciated the City Council support in coming out to various meetings regarding Alta Woodmore apartments, especially at the District Council meeting and other community meetings about this issue. Personally, I wish that the mayor would have attended at least one of the meetings. I think that would have made a huge difference in the outcome of the final decision by the district council. But nonetheless, I just want to just publicly acknowledge the fact that the city council members did come out to support, especially Councilmember Jones, Fareed, Curtis, Herring, and Guillaume. I really appreciate your support in that. So that goes without saying. But anyhow, hopefully this is a lesson learned for going forward. If any other development like this comes to the community, hopefully on the front end, there's some discussion about the impacts and how it could benefit or not benefit the citizens could be brought forth so that we don't have a repeat of this again. Thank you so much, and then everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I think I saw another hand. Mr. Todd? Did I see your hand, sir? You look like you're speaking, but you're on mute. 1 second. We'll try to get you off mute. All right, you can.
Unmuted. Can you hear me?
Kind of low.
But can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Thank you, sir. You know, I've met the mayor, and I think you guys did really an injustice because you got to let the mayor speak. And I don't know what goes on in you all's life. This is new to me, but I'm a doctor. I teach. I'm a professor. And this is the first time I came to a meeting, and I just can't see how you guys cut people off and let people should speak. And that was concerning. You got to hear everybody's point of view. Because at the end of the day, people run for office and people pay their own money, and you have to let people speak and tell their point of view. At the end of the day, you vote for what you don't want to hear. Is that fair? Hello?
Mr. Todd, are you finished?
Yes, I am.
So there's 3 minutes left. There's nothing else you have to say?
Well, the only 3 minutes left is that people will invest. And there's people that, my age that will invest in people that want to. There's people that come knock on the door that run for office every year. Mm-hmm. And the point I'm making is that you have to let people, if people walk door to door to run for office, you can't cut them off because you just disagree with what you're hearing. And that was a problem for me. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, sir. I will point out that the point of muting the mayor wasn't because I did not agree with her. It was because she was interrupting the peace of the meeting.
No. After you muted her, you added additional comments. So when you mute somebody, you say, this person was muted, and you move on to the next agenda. That's where you failed, because after you muted, you kept adding information, and that, in my world, was wrong.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
all I'm saying.
Thank you, sir. Just only one clarification. I'll save it for the end. Any other comments? I'm sorry? Yeah, well, you're up next. It's your turn. You have the floor. If you could please state your name, sir, and then your 5 minutes will start.
Testing 1 2 testing. Okay. Good evening, council and mayor, if she's still on board. My name is Melvin Fields, and I'm a longtime resident of Glenarden, a couple of decades now, and I'm here representing the Glenarden Track Club as usual. And we decided this year, since we were put on in the budget, that we would give a yearly report on what the track team has done for that particular year. We're going to start this, and and we think it would be a nice gesture that we do this. The Glenarden Track Club now is in their 40th anniversary. This is their 40th anniversary. Been together 40 years, and our motto is keeping our youth on the right track. That's on our T-shirts. If you ever looked at a Glenarden T-shirt by the Glenarden Track Club, you'll see it down there, keeping our youth on the right track. This year we decided to go out of the U.S. to participate in a foreign track meet. We took our student athletes to Toronto, Canada, and that was in June of this year. We went to the Canadian International Track and Field Championships in Toronto, Canada, which was hosted by the Flying Angels. The Flying Angels Track Club, they usually come down to our track meet, which is the Glenarden Invitational. So we thought we kind of, return the favor and go up there and participate in their national championship. So we did that, and like I said, in June of 2023. We took approximately 130 student athletes to Toronto, Canada, and we brought back 101 medals. That was total medal count, 101. We also had 20 Canadian championships, and we broke 8 Canadian meet records. Due to this, a minister of transportation from Bermuda came by, and he was elated. He was real happy, that we were able to make the trip, and he's interested in the track club coming to Bermuda next year, which will be June of 2024. So right now we're working with the I think it's the travel agencies of Bermuda, and we're also working our business manager, which is Mr. Phil Barr is working with the agencies also over there, so we try to make this a possibility to try to get our Glenarden track team representing this fine city of Glenarden, and to make sure they would try to make this trip. They would definitely be an asset to them if they could make this trip. Also, let's see, the kids, the student athletes, while we were in Toronto, Canada, they went to the Niagara Falls. They really enjoyed that trip to Niagara Falls. And they also had a large amusement park there. They enjoyed that. They went out onto the falls using I think they were on a boat, and the boat takes you out to the falls and brings you back. They really enjoyed that. Also, let's say, like I say, they went to Toronto, Canada, and they did tour Toronto itself. And I think that's it on that particular track excursion. We also went down to, I ain't got much to 32 seconds. We also went down to Durham, North Carolina on July 2023 at the Blunt East Coast Track and Field Championships. That is the oldest track and field championship on the East Coast. We brought home on that particular track and field championship, we brought home 94 medals and 13 championships. So we had a very well, it was okay, this time is up. We enjoyed ourselves, and I appreciate this opportunity to make this report. And like I say, we're going to try to make this report every year to just let you all know what we're doing. And I thank you for this time and opportunity, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one question for you. What are the dates of your season?
The seasons?
Yeah.
Our days, we start in March. This is the outdoor season, that is. We have an indoor season and an outdoor season. Our indoor season starts in December, and it ends around the latter part of February. The outdoor season starts in March. We start practicing in March. Our track meets start in April, and it'll go all the way through the summer until the end of July.
Oh, wow.
So anytime you all want to see the Glenarden Track Club, come to the Sports and Learning Complex, where we have all the facilities there that we're needing, and the facility is large enough to handle the crowd that we carry. Right now, we are approximately, this past summer, we had approximately 300 student athletes to participate. We have approximately 41 qualified coaches, background check coaches to handle the student athletes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And job well done to you and all your athletes.
Right. Thank you.
And coaches.
Right.
Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you. I just want to say to Mr. Fields and the Glenarden track team, and also the Glenarden coaches, Elgin Gordon, Mr. Henry, thank you so much. This year I've been trying to, been meditating on Thanksgiving and how Thanksgiving, what it means and giving thanks. And I was going to put this in the mail, but since you're here, here's my seed of $1,000 for the 2024 season. Thank you so much for what all of you all do. And I'd like to plant this seed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you for your benevolence, Councilwoman Jones. Are there any other public comments? Oh no, I think Mr. Foster is clapping. Okay. So, somebody else is up? No. Okay. So with that, I will close this portion of citizens' comments. I will say that, one, again, I apologize for the back and forth that citizens had to witness today. What I will say is that for citizens, please just look at things for yourself. Come to meetings, hold elected officials accountable. That's part of your responsibility. That's part of your role as citizens. Make sure that we are indeed doing our jobs as elected officials. So we welcome that. With that, I will move on. Are there any final comments by council members before we move into closed session?
Yes, Mr. President.
Council member.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for, thank the council for their support for the Thanksgiving luncheon. It was a great turnout. I was glad to have the citizens come out and enjoy themselves. Everybody seemed to really enjoy themselves. Again, the council members came out. They brought their families out, and everybody just mingled and enjoyed themselves. I thank our council clerk, Michelle Cheek, our honorary employee, Lamika Cheeks. Again, Councilman Harrison. Again, this was his baby. It's his idea. So, appreciate him on that. And our other volunteers that always come out is former Councilwoman Smallwood and former Councilwoman Wilson and Yvonne White. Again, all the council members were there. Unfortunately, I know Councilwoman Ferguson and Councilman Curtis couldn't make it, but they gave their apologies, and I do appreciate the support that y'all did give, in funding this event, because again, none of this could happen without these 7 members up here. And that's why it really upsets me when I see things written like it was written in the mayor's report. Because everybody up here, we may go back and forth sometime, but one thing we try to do is we try to give back to the community and do what's best for the community. So again, thank you for that support. And I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a very safe Thanksgiving if you're traveling. Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry, Councilman Jones.
Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. My prayer this year for the city of Glenarden is that each and every family will enjoy a wonderful holiday, that they will be able at Thanksgiving time to sit down with their families and give thanks for the things that God has bestowed on us. Because if it had not been for the Lord on our side, where would we be? So my prayer is that all would be safe, healthy, and happy. Thank you, citizens, for what you do.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, the council reserves to go into reserves the right to go into closed session anytime during the public.
President.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Councilman Guillaume, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. No worries.
We can hardly hear you. Mr. Gray, can you turn her up, please?
Can you all hear me now?
It is very low.
I can try to scream. Is this better?
Our parliamentarian said make sure your volume's up on your computer.
It is all the way up. It's all the way up.
All right, just scream because we can barely hear you.
December 15th, the holiday party. December 15th.
December 15th, the Glenarden holiday party.
Yes, from 7 to 11.
Oh, we can hear you now. 7 to 11.
Yes, that's it.
December 15th, 7 to 11. Is there by way that the tickets? I believe there. Go ahead, Councilwoman Guillaume.
Well, if Councilwoman Ferguson, Council Vice wants to speak, that's fine. If that's better, since you all can't hear me.
Tickets are available through our council clerk, 3 tickets per family. Can you come up and get them or call 301-322-1473 and ask for council clerk Bailey Walls. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mayor, is this an adult-only affair?
Oh, sorry, this is a adult-only affair.
Thank you.
No jeans. Thank you.
And I just want to point out that all of these events that are by the council, the mayor is invited and does actually show up and does actually speak at these events. So they're not council events in isolation. So with that, the council reserves the right to go into closed session anytime during a public meeting pursuant to the annotated code of Maryland, State Government Articles, Section 10-508A. The council by majority vote may retire to executive or closed session at any time during the meeting. Should the council retire to executive or closed session, the chair will announce the reasons and a report will be issued at a future meeting disclosing the reasons for such closed session. In this closed session, we will need to close it to discuss personnel actions. That's good enough, right, Terry? Thank you. With that, is there a motion to go
We cannot adjourn a meeting until we vote to close it. We got to vote in public to close the meeting.
Yeah, we do. Close.
We do have to vote in public to close it.
All right, so is there a motion to close this session?
So move.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Speak to the mic.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, could you do a voice vote to go into closed session while it's being recorded, please?
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston, Councilman Hairston, Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
Council President Purdy.
Yes. With that, the meeting is now closed. All right. Just 1 second.
Recording stopped.